what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Reverse 1999 reaction. Today we have The Truth Will Come. This was requested by Angel Wing, who said it was pretty similar to the other one. Somebody else also replied to them going, I don't know if you should listen to that one because it's very similar. And they were like, it's a little closer to funk than pop like the other one was. But even if it is really close to rock solid, I'm still interested in hearing it. I don't really have a personal opinion against any specific genre. So even if it does sound very similar, it's a different song. It'll have a different approach. So I'm just interested in hearing what it is. By the look of the picture that I'm seeing, it's probably the same event, but I guess we'll find out if I listen. So without further ado, let's go. Oh yeah, definitely the same event. Yeah, that definitely has a different vibe to it. This is actually pretty poppy too, but it's a different variety of pop. But I see why it might sound very similar. I also see where like the funk versus pop idea is coming in. Tasty keys right there. Much more jazzy than funk, I would say. Woo. Really interesting solo there, actually. I'll probably talk about that later. Definitely a vibe, much like Rock Solid was. But also definitely more laid back, you know? The other one had more energy to it. This one kind of makes me groove a little bit easier. That's probably where that funk feeling was coming in too. Makes you bop your head a little bit differently. Kind of get the rolling side bop compared to this version. Completely different. God, the amount of effects on that guitar. Plenty of reverb, a little bit of echo on there, and just really hollow. I love that guitar tone, but I really want to talk about why that first solo especially kind of grabbed my ear and grabbed my attention. So the first thing I want to say is my perspective on this song is definitely different, but like I said, it was for the same event. I guessed that correctly just based on the imagery. This one felt a lot more like main character energy compared to the other one that felt more flippant and goof-offish, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, of course. These are both different songs in their own rights that have different vibes they're going for. While Rock Solid, while it didn't feel lacking in confidence, was definitely a little bit more on the goofy side of things than on the serious side. This had a little bit more of that serious vibe to it, and I like that. But also, like I said at the very beginning of the reaction, the difference of these two is less that one feels more poppy and funk, and that this one does feel a little bit more jazzy. That is definitely one factor of it. But compared to each other, they are a different version of pop, actually, and that's why I think it's kind of neat. This one is a little bit more of like stereotypical very typical synthwave-esque 80s compared to the other one, which is a little bit more TV. You know, it's a little bit more TV pop, maybe like late 80s, early 90s. There's a slight different vibe to it, and there's probably a reason to that and why they sound like that at different parts in their event, and I'm not really sure what those situations would be, but that's not really why I'm here. The thing I do want to talk about, though, the guitar and why I loved that first solo especially. The second one was fun. It had a little bit more movement, but I think that lacking movement is why I like the first one more. That is something that is kind of undersung and only really ever done in jazz, and that is giving some room to the solo. Choosing when not to play in a solo has just as much musical relevance as choosing when to play. Shredding on the guitar is insanely impressive if you do it right and it sounds awesome. Great, fantastic. We all love a good guitar shred. But when you play something a little bit more jazzy and you have that vibe to it, choosing when to just remove sound entirely and stop playing adds a little bit more presence to the emotional impact of the solo. That might be me putting on my like music snob hat a little bit, but there is definitely a relevant argument for that, where you get rid of some of the sound to add some space, and that space is just as important as having plenty of sound going on. Having that extra space allows you to sit in it just for a few milliseconds to process things as they happen. I talked about this recently with a lot of my rhythm game reactions, that, you know, you're gonna have songs that are constantly moving. They're rhythm game songs, but the ones I like the most are the ones that take a second to let the listener process through the song and feel it out, instead of just bombarding you with rhythm all the way through to the end. There's a difference between challenge and musical acuity. It's something completely different. There's a key difference to just bombarding you with rhythmic challenge versus allowing the listener to feel something during the song. And just like I've said during the rhythm game videos, that's not necessarily something that rhythm games leave out on purpose, and they do include it a lot of the time. It just depends on what the goal of the artist is. And I feel like for this song, especially because of the vibe it was given off, it was a little bit more laid back, but it was also taking itself a little bit more seriously than Rock Solid was. I feel like that intent was clear, where this one wanted to have some more of that thought in there. It wanted to invoke some other emotion out of the listener than just, haha, let's all have fun at the end. It's done. Like, credits roll. Everything is good and fun and happy. Woo. It's a completely different vibe. This is more like, here's what we're going to be doing today, just letting you know, cluing you in on things, letting you have a plot synopsis, basically. And the other one is an epilogue. It's just a different vibe. I can definitely see why these would sound very similar to a lot of people, given that they're both kind of pop-backed, but also slightly different in what genres they borrow from. This one being jazz, the other being a little bit more rock influenced, I would say. There's definitely a little bit of rock influence in this one too, but again, just slightly different. There's so much wiggle room in music, it can be really difficult to just give it a solid, here's what the genre is, unless the people write specifically to be that genre. There's so many varieties of how these games handle their musical approach that it can be difficult to find exactly what's going on behind the scenes. This one kind of hit more of like a Miami Vice Magnum PI feeling with how it approached the music compared to the other one. That was a lot more of, like I said last time, fits their whole comedic approach to how they did films and stuff. Like, that comedy edge has been there in the Chinese film industry for a long time, and wanting to pay homage to that is really fun, and I think that was cool in itself. But this one, taking itself more seriously and kind of having a more generally serious tone to it, treating itself what felt more like a cop show in a way, just felt more right to me and felt a lot more serious. So like I've said, this one, more serious, a little bit more jazzy. I appreciate that. Rock Solid is fun. They both borrow from pop, but it's a completely different general approach to the music, and that's probably just due to the composers of each song wanting to get these different approaches out, and the producers of the game wanting the same. It's all just a gigantic mess of people trying to make a good product, and I believe they did a great job here, making this genre feel so welcoming, so relaxing, but also weirdly fresh. I haven't heard a genre approach quite this succinct in a little bit, so I actually really appreciate how they handled this song, and the vibes it gave me were just so unique. It's so weird to feel that way. I was vibing with this one. It just hit me a little bit different today, and I really do appreciate that. But I've also been yapping about this one for quite a while. Even though you're all seeing a cut down version, there have been multiple times I've had to stop and restart my sentences, get my thoughts together. There's so much in my brain about this one, but also I'm just kind of at the same time so relaxed because it was just kind of a chill song that I was struggling to get words out, but hopefully I'm able to edit something together that makes sense and you all can at least take something away from. But I'll take this opportunity to stop yapping and call it the end of the video. So thank you all so very much for watching. If you have anything else you want me to get to from Reverse 1999, by all means, leave it in the comments below and I will do my best as always. Or if you just enjoyed this video and you want to follow me and support me for more stuff in the future, you know how to do all that. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!